right. Coming off a week off, go back to the Murray game. Obviously disappointed. Got off to a tremendously slow start, and give Murray credit for that and their coaches. And they made plays early, and we did not. And got in the hole, and battled back, but just couldn't pull through. And like I said, there's reasons for that. Credit to them, and some things that we've got to coach better and perform better. And so, talked about that. Seemed like that game was forever ago. I mean, we were 1 of 9 of third down conversions in the first half. That's can't win any games like that. You just you can't get off the field on third down. You fumble a low snap, and you fumble in the end zone on the punt, and give up another 7 points. And with all those things happening, you're still a 7-point game, 3 minutes left, and you can't get a stop. You can't get off the field. So. Once again, and then they get a win this week. So, you could tell on tape, though, they're much improved. So, had to get to this open week and work and improve ourselves as we looked ahead toward EKU. We're beat up a little bit, just like every team is this time of year, but guys are fighting back from those, and we held some guys out last week as we practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we were back yesterday as the players had this weekend off. And move on to EKU, a team that went up there. Dresser got his first start against them last year, and lost by 10. And they offensively we didn't do a whole lot, and they ran the ball downhill at us and in the second half in the third quarter, and really got after us after we had a halftime lead 7-3. So they're coming off a tough one there versus Jacksonville State, which is something that happens to most teams in this league. So I'm sure they'll regroup and be really focused as they got to go on the road this week and head to us. So that's where we are.
Talk a little bit about some of the things you did in the off week.
Yeah.
About working on your team and working on getting better.
Yeah, just one thing that I showed the players yesterday was, okay, here's some practice clips from Thursday, and there's no strain to it. And I'm not gonna rant and rave. Okay, I'm gonna show you when the game is on the line or the first down's on the line. This is the muscle memory that you have from this play that you ran in practice. Now, it's all the way around the country. It's not just UTM now, okay? Because you're going against, we don't call them show team, scout team guys. We call them show team guys, okay? But I've got to have that movement fast, so that guard can see it, so he can collect it and, get to the backer and those different things. And so that was one thing that we do. We've got to, those 45 reps that you get full speed at practice, even though you're staying off the ground, they've got to be full speed. They can't be at half speed because you don't get any do-overs on the 3rd and 3. On game day. So those are the things we had to improve. You get a chance to self-scout and see where you are, run to pass, by down and distance, self-scout by personnel, where are you, what have you been doing in the red zone, third downs, et cetera. And as you look, we're not doing very well on getting off the field on third downs. And that's something our defensive staff is working on. Is now you can go back and look at normally the puzzle of that is say, well, how good you doing on first down? But we're doing fairly well on first down. It's 3rd and 5 plus that we're not doing very well on. Then you go back and look at us on offense, and we're not doing very well 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4s. Okay, doing actually percentage-wise better on 3rd and long. But that's some of the you got Missouri, you got MTSU in there, but that stuff kind of evens out as the season goes. So you look at yourself up and down. What can you improve on? What are some statistics that are glaring that have to change going forward to win games? And you see in this league now, you saw how many points we scored this past week. So it's definitely an offensive league this year because the quarterbacks are better, because the graduation hits some defenses like it did ours, and then the schemes have changed a little bit in this league where people are not just 3 yards in a cloud of dust. You're trying to get – EKU's probably the team that, says, hey, we're going to run the ball at you. Can you stop it? So, you got to be prepared when you play some of these teams as you go forward to you're going to give up yards, try to hold them to field goals in the red zone, but you got to score to keep them pressing.
You mentioned their running game offensively for Eastern. They're 3rd in the conference running. You're 2nd in the conference running defense. There's about a 100-yard difference there. What kind of things do you need to do that you've seen that you have to do to stop them?
Well, you got to, the proverbial, you got to control the line of scrimmage. Yeah, you got to be in your gap. You can't get pushed out of your gap. And so those are things that have to happen, and then the safeties have to have good fits, okay? But if everybody's pushed out of their gap, the fit for the safety is even larger, and that's when missed tackles come into play, and that's when, backs, a 3-yard gain turns into a 12-yard gain, and that's what they want to happen. That's what we don't want to happen. So D lineman got to at worst hold your gap. If you can win your block, right, and defeat the block and make the play, fire it up. But be in your gap, make the ball bounce, make the ball stay in the running back in a constricted area. Linebackers got to get their fits. All right, you can't win your gap and then stick your head back in the other gap, because the ball will find you when you get out of your gap. So it's like putting a puzzle together, and everybody's got to be where they are, and then you got to make the back go east and west, and then when you do that, then you got to make sure that that you've got them like guys that can come make the plays.
Are the front seven in your defense, are they buying into that, sticking to their assignments?
Not always. The group to me that's played the best, the most consistent, is our defensive line. I think they've played the most consistent, those three, and everybody else has kind of been, spotty. Okay, we're making still plays at linebackers. Don't get me wrong, and those guys are all good players. But there's been some times to where we've given up a couple plays at those spots. Now the reason is because of the difference of. We've been talking about this since the summer. When you had Jay Murphy there at the nose, right? You're not moving the defensive line as much, and he's able to hold a gap, and the linebackers fit those things really well. Now with Pick at the nose, yeah, we're getting tackles for loss. We had 15 of them against Austin Peay, but the times that we don't get the tackles for loss and the movements are coming, the linebackers have got to immediately be in their gaps. They don't get to necessarily read things out. And we haven't adjusted that consistently enough, and it's cost us several times. What else?
How do you game plan against a team that is so run heavy to not allow those cheap throws over the top when you are crowding box?
That's you got to have good eyes, right? You got to have good eyes, and whether you're in man, right, you don't look back at the quarterback. You cover your man, and if you're in zone, your eyes got to go to the right place. Inevitably, what happens is you're in zone. And hey, my buddies need help. My D-line, my linebackers need help. I've got to get in there and help them, stop this tackle, right? And that's when a guy runs free. Or same way, in man coverage. The one time you come off and throw your hat in there and part of a tackle, all right, I don't need you in the tackle. If you're in man coverage, you have to cover that man, and the rest of the guys have to get the stop on the run. So those are that's what you do. And they're looking in the box. Their coaches will be to say, okay, who's cheating? Who's not where they're supposed to be, and where's their 7th and 8th hat coming from to try to stop the run, and then that's when the ball tries to go over your head. So there's discipline to it. That's the if you get run by, you get run by. If you give up a 50-50 ball, but you can't just give them the one where the guy's wide open because you try to do something that wasn't your responsibility.
After a big injury like Jamie had, he now ranks in top 10 program history in touchdowns. Just kind of talk about how he has come back over the last year and became 5 touchdowns this year, I believe.
Yeah, we kind of put him in the red zone, but he's a little thicker of the backs, and he's done a nice job kind of having a nose for the red zone. And I think that 2 things I'm proud of Jamie about. One is that he's back and he's contributing, and I mean mentally that was really tough on him last year. We had some conversations to where he was married and child. Was football still in his future? So to get him back and part of the team and on course to graduate, that's win number 1. Win number 2 is, okay, now you're back, and we're deeper at this position than we were back 2 years ago when you were getting all the carries. And so he's been a great teammate, and those have been good. That's been good to see him grow from that standpoint. Not that he wasn't a good teammate, but it's different now with Galloway and Peyton Logan, eating up some of the reps as well. Let's see, what else is going on with us? Got a lot of young guys reps last week. A lot of young guys every day. There was about 20 plays designated for full. They were in full pads and stuff. So it was good to see those guys, and that's always encouraging to see who's 1 year away and who's 2 years away. And hopefully not too many of them are 3 years away. But last week, look at all the points that were scored in this league, man. you know, 70 by SEMO, you know, 40s by, you know, everybody else, Tennessee State and Austin P. And so it's funny how the league changes on a yearly basis. We good? Appreciate you guys. Thank y'all.